Welcome everyone to the Monday edition of the Sharp Pick, our weekly line movement video series here at SBR Forum. It is week 15 in the NFL, and that means we only have a few more weeks of the regular season together discussing the line opening movement and closing movement as well. We'll start this week on Thursday night, where the Cincinnati Bengals are -3 at the Philadelphia Eagles this week, and I can already tell you that I do like the Bengals. However, the Eagles are starting to play a little bit better with Nick Foles, and they're starting to probably be a little bit embarrassed as of their play as of late, so they're probably starting to play with a lot more of intensity here with only a few more games left in the season. I know that home underdogs are normally a good bet, however, I cannot help but like the Bengals this week on the short week. I don't think the Eagles, with all their injuries, are going to have enough to turn around and face a pretty good team like the Cincinnati Bengals. The Giants are +1 in Atlanta this week after opening as a pick'em against the Falcons, and now the Falcons look like they're gaining some money and some public support. However, I don't see this line moving up too much past 1.5, maybe 2.5 points. I do really like the Falcons this season, but I think the Giants turned it around this week, and they probably have a pretty good shot at coming in and upsetting Atlanta in this one, so be very careful if you like the Falcons. The Bucks are +3 in New Orleans this week against the Saints, and obviously the Saints have been playing a little bit better as of late, but the Bucks are no team to sleep on, and these two teams being divisional rivals can have pretty close and pretty contested games. So I know the public obviously likes the Saints here, only laying 3 points, but be careful if you are falling into that trap just a little bit. The Denver Broncos are -3 this weekend, and they are in Baltimore to face off against the Ravens. I can't say which side I really like of this one just yet. I figured this line would be a little bit more favored inside of the Broncos, but at the same time, I would temper your expectations just a little bit because the Broncos are starting to clinch. They've already clinched their division. Depending on what happens on this Monday night game, they could be looking at only a few more wins needed to clinch the top one, a bye in the first round of the playoffs. So I wouldn't expect them to go too crazy against the Ravens. However, I do think they should be at least 3-point favorites. The Colts are surprisingly all the way up to a 9.5 underdog on the road in Houston this week to face off against the Texans. Now, I can already tell you that I think the underdogs have value here, but that seems to be where the public's laying their money too, or excuse me, taking their money too. So I would be careful on this one because the Colts do have the ability to put up a stinker, especially on defense, and the Texans' offense is good enough and still probably needs some wins to clinch one of those top 2 byes in the AFC. The Carolina Panthers, fresh off their impressive win against the Atlanta Falcons, are +3 underdogs in San Diego this week in a face-off against the Chargers. Now, I can already tell you that this one stinks. This one stinks so bad, you can smell it from a mile away. I know that the Panthers look good in this one. However, they are a completely different team on the road, it seems. I know they've been playing great recently, but they've been at home putting up those kind of numbers. So temper your expectations just a little bit. I'd lay off this line until you see some movement one way or the other, until we see where the public and the sharps see to be laying their money here early in the week. Seattle Seahawks -5.5. They're in Buffalo this weekend, and I can already tell you that that line's probably going to go up. The Buffalo Bills have just completely lost it. I don't understand what is going on with that team. They are just horribly coached, and I can't see them even winning against a powerful Seahawks team that has looked really good, maybe even still hanging around for a playoff spot in the NFC. So if you like the Seahawks, get in on them now because this line is just going nowhere but up. The Steelers and the Cowboys are a pick'em in Dallas this week, and I can already tell you this is probably going to be one of the better games of Week 15. It should be extremely interesting. Both of these teams are right around the same amount of skill level, and both are still fighting for something seemingly here in Week 15. So it should be a pick'em. I don't expect much movement. It might shade to a -1 for one side or the other, but I wouldn't expect it to go too much. So probably going to be a pretty contested game. Finally, the 49ers +3 on Monday night in New England to face off against the Patriots. The Patriots get 2 Monday night games back-to-back, and they could not have 2 tougher of opponents. Texans in Week 14, and now the 49ers in Week 15. Now, I know what some of you may be thinking, and I can already say, stop thinking it. The 49ers, I don't think, have a chance at covering this spread. I think the Patriots opening up at -3 has pretty good value. I think you're going to see them win against the 49ers pretty easily. I think they'll have at least a solid scheme around Colin Kaepernick, and I think their offense, the way you beat the 49ers is through the air, and no better team suited to do that than the Patriots. That'll do it for my Monday edition. Make sure you check back, of course, daily for my blog updates, as well as the Friday video edition. We'll recap all this week's line movement in review and talk about whether we were right or wrong about what sides people were going to be on. But until then, I'm Jordan Sharp. This has been The Sharp Pick.